The year was 73 AD, and the sands of the Colosseum had already drunk the blood of thousands. But beneath the roar of 50,000 spectators and the clash of gladiatorial combat lay a darker truth that Roman historians preferred to bury in euphemism and silence. For the women captured in Rome's endless wars of expansion, death in the arena would have been a mercy compared to what awaited them in the gladiatorial schools and private chambers of their captors. When we speak of Roman gladiators, our minds conjure images of muscled warriors locked in honorable combat, their struggles elevated to the realm of sport and spectacle. Hollywood has painted these fighters as noble heroes, their deaths meaningful and their lives governed by codes of honor that transcended their slavery. But this romanticized vision obscures a far more sinister reality, one where captured women faced horrors that made the swift death of the arena seem like divine salvation. The Roman Empire's appetite for conquest was matched only by its hunger for human suffering transformed into entertainment. Every military campaign brought fresh waves of prisoners, and among these captives, women represented a particularly valuable commodity, not valuable for their potential as warriors, but for something far more degrading and profitable. The gladiatorial system that we remember today was built upon foundations of systematic brutalization that extended far beyond the sand-covered floors, where men died for understand the true horror face the crowd's amusement. Taught by these captive women, we must first examine the world that created such suffering. The Roman Empire at its height controlled territories stretching from Britain to North Africa, from Spain to the Middle East. Each conquered territory yielded its harvest of prisoners, and Roman military doctrine specifically encouraged the capture of civilians alongside enemy soldiers. These prisoners became the raw material for an entertainment industry that consumed human lives with an efficiency that would make modern industrial operations seem quaint by comparison. The journey from battlefield captive to gladiatorial commodity began immediately after surrender. Contemporary accounts describe how Roman soldiers would separate prisoners by age, gender, and perceived physical attributes. Young women, particularly those from conquered Germanic tribes, Celtic settlements, or captured during the Jewish revolts, found themselves marked for a fate that their captors considered more profitable than simple slavery. The selection process itself was designed to identify those who could provide the most entertainment value, though entertainment in this context carried meanings that extended far beyond public spectacle. Transport to Rome involved weeks or months of forced marching, inadequate food, and deliberate psychological conditioning designed to break the spirit of resistance. Surviving administrative records from the period reveal the calculated nature of this process. Captive women were systematically separated from family members, subjected to public humiliation in conquered cities, and forced to witness the execution of their male relatives. This psychological warfare served a dual purpose, breaking individual will while providing entertainment for Roman soldiers and local collaborators eager to demonstrate their loyalty to the new regime. The gladiatorial schools, or ludi, represented the next stage in this machinery of degradation. Modern archaeological evidence from sites like Pompeii reveals that these institutions were far more complex than simple training facilities. They functioned as prisons, brothels, and entertainment venues simultaneously, with different sections serving different purposes depending on the time of day and the desires of paying customers. The women housed in these facilities faced a daily existence that combined the worst aspects of slavery, prostitution, and preparation for public death. Training regimens for female captives differed fundamentally from those imposed on male gladiators. While men learned combat techniques designed to provide entertaining fights before honorable deaths, women underwent preparation for spectacles that prioritized humiliation over martial skill. Contemporary sources describe training scenarios that combined elements of combat with deliberate exposure and degradation, creating performances that satisfied Roman appetites for both violence and sexual dominance over conquered peoples. The architectural layout of gladiatorial schools reflected these dual purposes. Archaeological excavations have revealed quarters specifically designed for housing female prisoners, with features that facilitated both confinement and access by paying visitors. These spaces included communal bathing areas designed for observation rather than hygiene, sleeping quarters that could be easily monitored, and training areas where preparation for public performance took place under the watchful eyes of those who would soon purchase access to private entertainments. Roman law, with its elaborate distinctions between citizens and non-citizens, provided legal frameworks that legitimized these practices. Captive women possess no legal standing whatsoever, existing in a category below even regular slaves. They could be bought, sold, tortured, or killed with complete impunity, their suffering constrained only by economic considerations rather than moral limitations. Legal documents from the period treat these women as property comparable to livestock, with detailed records of purchases, transfers, and disposal that reveal the systematic nature of their exploitation. The economics of this system created incentives that ensured maximum suffering. Gladiatorial school owners discovered that spectacles involving captive women generated higher revenues than traditional male combat, particularly when these performances incorporated elements that emphasized the women's foreign origins and former freedom. Roman audiences paid premium prices to witness the degradation of those who had once lived as free members of conquered societies, finding particular satisfaction in seeing former queens, priestesses, and warriors reduced to objects of entertainment. Private exhibitions represented perhaps the most lucrative aspect of this trade. Wealthy Romans, including senators, merchants, and military commanders, paid substantial sums for exclusive access to captive women before their public appearances. These private sessions, conducted in the quarters of gladiatorial schools or in the homes of the wealthy, allowed participants to engage in activities that even Roman society, with its casual acceptance of extreme violence, preferred to keep hidden from public view. The women involved had no choice but to participate, their compliance ensured through threats of even worse treatment or promises of slightly better conditions. The psychological impact of this systematic degradation extended beyond individual suffering to encompass broader strategies of imperial control. By reducing the women of conquered peoples to objects of entertainment, Rome sent clear messages to subjugated populations about the consequences of resistance. These spectacles served as demonstrations of Roman power that went beyond military might to encompass complete domination over the most intimate aspects of human dignity. The message was unmistakable. Resistance to Rome would result not just in death, but in the complete destruction of everything that gave life meaning. Contemporary accounts from Roman writers reveal the casual nature with which educated Romans discussed these practices. Letters between prominent citizens contain references to upcoming spectacles involving captive women, recommendations for particularly entertaining performers, and complaints about declining quality as the supply of fresh prisoners fluctuated with military campaigns. This normalization of extreme cruelty reflects a society that had systematically dehumanized its enemies to the point where their suffering became a source of casual entertainment rather than moral concern. The training process itself deserves particular examination, as it reveals the methodical approach Romans took to maximizing both entertainment value and psychological destruction. Captive women underwent months of preparation designed to create performers who could provide satisfying spectacles while simultaneously demonstrating their complete subjugation. This training combined physical conditioning with psychological conditioning, creating individuals who could function as entertainment while bearing visible marks of their conquered status. Religious elements played a significant role in legitimizing these practices within Roman society. Certain spectacles involving captive women were incorporated into religious festivals, particularly those honoring Mars, the god of war, and Venus, the goddess of love and sexuality. By framing these exhibitions as religious observances, Roman authorities provided moral justification for practices that might otherwise have troubled even their hardened sensibilities. The captive women became sacrificial offerings in elaborate ceremonies that celebrated Roman dominance while invoking divine approval for the empire's conquests. The scale of these operations becomes clear when examining surviving financial records from major gladiatorial schools. Documents indicate that facilities in Rome alone housed hundreds of captive women at any given time, with regular shipments arriving from active military campaigns. This industrial approach to human suffering required extensive logistical networks involving transporters, trainers, guards, and administrators, all working together to transform conquest into entertainment and profit. The documentation that survives from this period reveals the methodical cruelty that characterized every aspect of these operations. Administrative papyri recovered from Egyptian gladiatorial schools detail the daily routines imposed upon captive women, schedules that combined preparation for public spectacle with private exploitation that generated revenue during the intervals between arena appearances. These records, preserved by the dry climate and bureaucratic obsessiveness of Roman administrators, paint a picture of institutionalized suffering that operated with the efficiency of any other imperial enterprise. Morning routines began before dawn, with physical conditioning designed not to build strength or combat skill, but to maintain the aesthetic appeal that Roman audiences demanded. Captive women were forced to exercise under the supervision of trainers whose primary concern was preserving their market value rather than their health or dignity. These sessions took place in courtyards designed for observation, allowing potential customers to evaluate merchandise before making purchasing decisions for private entertainments. The medical care provided to these women reveals another dimension of calculated cruelty. Roman physicians assigned to gladiatorial schools were skilled practitioners whose expertise was directed toward maintaining the captives in conditions suitable for performance rather than promoting genuine healing or comfort. Surviving medical texts from the period describe treatments specifically designed to preserve appearance while ignoring underlying health conditions, creating a facade of vitality that concealed systematic deterioration. Dietary regimens reflected similar priorities. Captive women received nutrition calculated to maintain their physical appeal for Roman audiences, while keeping them weak enough to prevent effective resistance. Contemporary accounts describe meals that provided just enough sustenance to prevent visible malnutrition while ensuring chronic weakness that facilitated control. This careful balance between preservation and subjugation required constant monitoring by guards trained to recognize signs of either excessive weakness that might reduce entertainment value or excessive strength that might enable rebellion. The clothing and equipment provided to these women for their arena appearances carried symbolic significance that extended far beyond practical considerations. Costume designers employed by gladiatorial schools created outfits that simultaneously emphasized the foreign origins of the captives while reducing them to objects of visual consumption. Archaeological evidence from Pompeii includes fragments of these specialized garments, revealing construction techniques designed to ensure maximum exposure while incorporating elements that marked the wearers as conquered enemies rather than willing participants. Training for arena performances involved scenarios that bear